Here's an interesting. I'm making my predictions just for kicks because then it gets on the internet and it'll be there forever. Have you heard of Rabbit? It's you have to look it up. It's like a little handheld device that
Yeah,
it's like a
makes it so you don't have to
purpose
check your
built.
phone.
Yeah, so it's a purpose built unit, which would be interesting if we had a unit because our like and he makes a really good point, the guy who's the president of Rabbit, is that the phone is actually kind of hard to use, even though it's like so much easier than so many other things. But when you think about, look, I need to go on and just even book an Uber, it isn't just like you turn to your phone and say, hey, book me an Uber. There's more to it than that. Whereas the Rabbit is designed to cut back all of the kind of that early interaction into making a request, and then boom, you just make a request. But that would be interesting if AI gets onto, and I'm sure it is probably already. Maybe I'm
No,
behind
you're
already.
right on track. What you're talking about are called AI agents, and that is kind of the next step. And
Yeah.
I feel like we'll each have our own AI agent who has
Mhm.
full access to everything that we have and everything that we do. And I can say, I can tell my agent through my wearable, my glasses,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever, hey, I need to book a flight for this trip in October. Just go find me the
yeah,
flights. Like I'm looking for something on this day between this window. You know the airlines I like because you've booked everything for me before, and you have my credit card information. So just go ahead and do that. And the AI agent can just handle so many aspects of your life for you. In 10 years, that's for sure where we're going to
yeah, yeah.
be. We will be in self-driving cars. We will be using wearables. I think you're right. I don't think phones have a massive future. I think we are going somewhere like wearables, I don't know, chips down the road. If I don't have to carry a phone around and I can just do things through
Yeah.
glasses. But again, that's like the cool. And then the scary is everyone, what's happening to your data, what's real, what's not real, are you being recorded all the time, like who is on the other end, will you ever interact with a human person ever again, and how do we make that a priority, and where do we draw the line? So there's all these questions that raises,
Mhm.
and nobody has any answers. We're all going to have to kind of muddle our way along and figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I think it is interesting that there was this long-standing theme in movies and media that the the progression of AI or whatever we called it early on was that it was going to recognize that humans were its worst enemy and then just wipe out humanity because that was the answer to some algorithmic issue. But then I think we started to realize that maybe the biggest problem we have in humanity is that we can perfect the relationship and interaction that we want to have without having an interaction with someone. And we start to exclude other people from a world because you said, being alone. And then suddenly we're all alone all the time, but we're having these
Yeah.
amazing interactions with essentially a supercomputer. And
Yeah.
then we don't need people.
And that's
And
a huge risk. I will tell you, like based on my own journey and experience, because I started in November of 2022
yeah,
and I
yeah.
dove all in and I spent all this time. I started to really crave human interaction that I never had before. Like if I had the opportunity to have an
Mhm.
in-person meeting versus a Zoom, I was doing in person all the time. And I
Right.
really predict that we're going to see a real strong return to valuing human connection and interpersonal communication. I think that we've overcorrected to texting and emails and Zoom. And we know, and this is going to make me sound super old, but kids these days, have a hard time calling to make their own appointments or
Mhm.
being in interviews and interacting with people. And I think that skill is about to skyrocket in value again, as it has been valuable in the past. Because the only way you're going to know that you're talking to a real person is to have them standing in front of you. Everything else could be an AI. And I
Right.
started to crave that more. And I think that society as a whole, we're going to value interpersonal relationships. I predict in post-secondary and in school, the only way we're going to know if a kid wrote their essay or not is to have them deliver a verbal essay or an
Right.
in-person written oral presentation. So oral communication, I think, is about to be very, very, very valuable. That's another one of my predictions.